This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Monday, the 4th day of February in the year 2019. Here's what we're tracking tonight. Commissioners attached to the Guyana Elections Commission are set to meet tomorrow to further discuss preparations for regional and national elections. Today's meeting was pushed back after the commissioners were provided with documents from the Guyana Elections Commission Secretariat about the possible timelines for regional and national elections. News source understands that based on the timelines being put forward by the GCOM Secretariat, it will be unlikely for elections to be held before July, with July being the earliest date. An upset PPP-nominated Commissioner Robeson Ben this afternoon told reporters that he became disinterested in the GCOM timeline from the time he realized it was looking at a date beyond March.
I don't think we have any other mandate at the level of the GCOM, but to say that we have to follow the constitutionally required timelines. I haven't looked at that in any detail. By tomorrow we're in a better position to tell.
Until next year?
I said I haven't looked at it. I've lost interest in it once the constitutional deadline hasn't been met really.
The commissioner said he believes GCOM has to follow the constitutionally required timelines. The opposition has been pushing for elections to take place by March, pointing out that a March date would be in keeping with the constitutional provisions after a no-confidence vote. But while the Constitution says elections should be held within 3 months, it adds that the elections could also be held at a later date as agreed to by 2/3 of the National Assembly. PNC-nominated member of the Elections Commission Charles Corbin said the commission would have to be guided by what is being put forward by its secretariat.
We would need to put all the information we have together because clearly there will be questions. Even in our short discussion today, there was a request by one of the commissioners for some more detail on one of the things which they just observed, and they said they would wish to have a detail on that timeline and what was involved in that timeline. So it wouldn't be prudent to go through that because it will be, the information is hopscotch. So what you will need to do is to have something that you will be able to make a comment holistically.
Mr. Corbin said one needs to look back a few years when the Elections Commission found itself facing a similar scenario, and the timeline given then was 6 months. Chief Elections Officer Keith Lowenfield, while not wanting to offer details of the work plan he provided to the commissioners, said that there are several factors that must be looked at in preparations for elections.
The Secretariat works or is guided, is directed by the Commission. So the Secretariat cannot move to the conduct of an election unless the Commission decides that we'll do this if we're going to have claims and objections. For example, that it will be for 10 days or 7 days or 9 days. The Commission decides that and pass those instructions to the Secretariat for execution.
Can elections be held by March 19?
Don't you want, as I said, the operations subcommittee to make a determination?
With all of the information.
I want to be at the same place with my commissioners before I speak with the press on any date and timeline, and you will understand and appreciate that.
Mr. Lowenfield said the current voters list will expire at the end of April, and while he believes it is a clean list, it will be up to the Commission to decide whether it goes into national elections with the same list. Meanwhile, in a statement this afternoon, the delegation of the European Union in Guyana said it continues to closely follow the developments after the no-confidence vote in the National Assembly on December 21. The delegation is calling on all concerned bodies and stakeholders to uphold the Constitution, respecting democratic procedures and the rule of law. It said procedures should be managed efficiently, with openness and transparency. In that regard, the delegation of the European Union said it welcomes the expeditious handling of the related court cases so far and hopes the further legal process could also be expedited for the benefit of Guyana. The EU body also said it looks forward to free and fair elections being held as appropriate and in line with all the constitutional provisions. More news coming up in a moment.
Roam like you're home, because prepaid means more with GTT. Travel to any GTT roam zone in the US, Canada, Caribbean, Latin America, or South America and pay the same great rates to use your data from foreign as you do when you're home. With GTT, prepaid means more, so roam like you're home with GTT, Guyana's preferred roaming network.
As a luxury mechanic, I'm often asked, what gas should I use in my expensive vehicle? In other countries, you have regular and mid-grade gasoline known as 87, 89, and premium gasoline known as octane 93 to 95. For affordable, high-quality fuel, performance, and high mileage, visit Guy Oil today. Choose Guy Oil Super 95. Guy Oil, we are everywhere.
Welcome back. President David Granger has told his supporters that he has not resigned and will remain the president until the next president is sworn in keeping with the Constitution. He made a declaration last evening at a rally to launch the opening of his party's new Region 3 office.
And you can see the change taking place in this country. Some people are jealous. Some people wish they could have thought about these things. But we are a compassionate government, we are a caring government. That's why we do these things, because we care about people, we don't care about filling our pockets. We care about developing the country, giving people that good life.
In galvanizing his support base, President Granger said the next elections will be about leadership, as he questioned the whereabouts of the PPP's presidential candidate, Irfan Ali. President Granger said he is the man with a plan for a better Guyana, adding that the elections will be about the future of Guyana and the children of this country.
We have come to a critical juncture in the history of this country. It is not about David versus Irfan. It is about the future of our children. It is about whether they can grow up in a democratic state. It is whether they can enjoy the quality of life that we promised them. It is whether the APNU AFC is the machine to deliver that quality of life. Are we the machine to deliver that quality of life?
Mr. Granger also said his government should be allowed to continue its work and be re-elected to continue that work. He said the one vote of one man in the parliament should not be able to cast aside the votes of over 207,000 people.
You didn't elect Barra to do the job. You didn't elect Irfan to do the job. Give us a chance to finish the job. Whatever happens, put us in the driving seat and you'll see the transformation. You'll see the change in every community, in every village, in every region. Sometimes when I consider what has happened, 4 new tongues. When last we had 4 new tongues? Y'all can go to Mawaruma, go to Madia, see the streets, see the lights. A grateful population. And one man didn't think about all of that. He just thinking about Kazrip.
President Granger said the coalition government is the best one for Guyana at this time, as it truly represents several parties coming together with their own ideas and contributions. The president also said the coalition is not a one-party rule government. Let's tell you now that the School of the Nations has stepped up security at its new Market Street campus as classes resume today. The school has now set up metal detectors, and students, teachers, and visitors are being scanned as they make their way into the compound. Bags are also being screened. The private school has hired the services of Professional Guard Services to man its new security area and the compound. Additionally, the Guyana Police Force has posted a police officer at the school, and regular checks are being conducted. The School of Nations was forced to cancel all classes last week following a series of threats against the school and the shooting of the school's director, Dr. Brian O'Toole. Dr. O'Toole is recovering well with the injuries to his arms. The Guyana Police Force has indicated that a number of persons are being questioned about the online threats and the shooting of the school's director. Turning now to the oil sector, as Guyana gears up for first oil next year, the Guyana Revenue Authority has been making steps to ensure it is in a better position to assess oil revenues for the country. Commissioner General of the GRA, Godfrey Stacia, announced on Friday that the authority has already hired the services of an international oil expert to assist the Revenue Collection Agency with the work it will have to do when the oil industry takes off.
We have been able to procure the services of an expert, and when I say an expert, I mean he was an administrator, he was in charge of the Canadian Revenue Authority oil and gas operations. That's a very large operation. He'll be here for the next 2 years. And the next 2 years, I mean 2 years, but a maximum of 30 weeks every year for 2 years. And he would be in charge of building that capacity based on what we would have had. Therefore, we're going to spin that off.
Guyana stands to gain revenues of billions of dollars from the oil industry annually when production begins. Already, the Commissioner General explained that ExxonMobil has been cooperating with its request.
I would like to assure you that we have been getting information that we have requested from Exxon, right, on a quarterly basis, and we've been getting information also going forward. They have also been estimating their information going forward. That information would also allow us to see what would be the rate of return and all these other things, and whether there should be some tweaking and the emphasis that we should put on some of these issues.
Some local financial analysts have been raising questions about the readiness of the Guyana Revenue Authority for the oil sector. The Commissioner General assured that the Revenue Agency has been preparing itself, and with support from the government and international agencies, that preparation will continue and work will be done. Good news for drivers this evening. The government has announced a drop in the price for fuel at the Guyol stations. In a statement, the Finance Ministry announced that as of today, Guyol Super 95 gasoline will be sold wholesale at $208 per litre or 4% less, and diesel will be sold at $207 per litre or 10% less. Simultaneously, retail customers will now pay $218 per litre for Super 95 gasoline or 4% less, and $217 per litre for diesel or 10% less. The government said the deductions are attributed to a decline in acquisition costs, reminding that it had approached CARICOM for the suspension of the common external tariff following the closure of Petrotrin, Guyana's main fuel supplier. CARICOM's approval would have also led to a reduction in the acquisition cost.
Nobody on the post there, very good costly. Yes it is, but I'm not saying just get a header. Oh, no, that's some save, isn't it?
Let's Bet Sports. Take your game to a whole new level. You decide. Your game, your bet type, your bet amount. Guyana Lottery Companies, Let's Bet Sports. Be part of the game.
Get ready to ride it, ride it. Ready to ride it, ride it, ride it, ride it, ride it, ride the wave. Open up the new vibe. Drink up the boldness inside. Radical and fresh and wild. Catch the wave now. Ride bold, ride fresh, ride strong. Come on, ride the wave. Taste the action, satisfaction, perfection. Wave, 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 wave.
Ride the new wave of excitement sweeping Guyana. Wave Pale Ale, a premium, full-bodied, strong, and refreshing alcoholic brew, crafted to perfection for a bold, young, radical you. Don't settle for anything less. Catch a Wave Pale Ale and ride it today.
Wave Pale Ale.
Crafted to perfection.
Now to regional news. At least 28 Haitians have drowned off the coast of Abaco in the Bahamas in the latest tragedy at sea for people seeking to leave the Caribbean's poorest economy. In a statement yesterday, the Royal Bahamas Defense Force said that after 2 days of dive operations, a total of 17 persons have been rescued alive and 28 bodies have been recovered from the water. The incident took place on Saturday when the ship carrying the people from Haiti sank near Fouquet, that's just 10 kilometers off the coast of Marsh Harbor, Abaco. Now to the region's economy. Barbados today reports that Barbadian Prime Minister Mia Mottley believes that gross underpopulation is one of the many factors and obstacles to the economic development of Barbados and the wider region, and there is urgent need for reform. In her assessment of the region's economy at a recent Clinton Global Initiative Forum, Prime Minister Mottley said outdated development models, which need urgent reform, were stifling regional economies. She said there is a need to reverse the investment by industrialization model of the 50s, adding that the development model must change. And finally tonight, international news. The UK, France, Germany, Spain and other European countries have officially recognized opposition leader in Venezuela, Juan Guaido, as the interim president of that country. It comes after President Nicolas Maduro defiantly rejected a deadline they set for Sunday to call fresh elections. Mr. Guaido declared himself interim leader last month and won US backing. Russia, a backer of Mr. Maduro, accused the EU countries of meddling in Venezuela's affairs. On Sunday, Mr. Maduro dismissed calls for a new presidential vote, saying he would not accept ultimatums. He has denounced Mr. Guaido's move as nothing more than a coup. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley, reporting.